What's your happy place? Where do you go when you want to get away from it all? For me, it's when I'm up high and drifting along with the clouds. There's something super surreal about being in the sky. It's a place where I can leave everything else behind and fly as free as a hawk in the wind. At times I feel like life is just pulling me along. And I love these moments where I can break free and carve my own path. Here, I'm doing just that as I take my first glider flight. And man, was it awesome. I have wanted to do this for so long. I've been flying paragliders for about 15 years now, but I've wanted to go a little bit higher, a little bit faster, and a little bit further. After flying paragliders for so long, flying a glider just seemed like the natural choice. And now that I've done it, I can say it was absolutely where I needed to be. I met a great guy recently. His name's Robert, and he's sitting in the seat right behind me. He gave me a chance to come up and see what this was all about. And as you can see, the view is epic. And I got to enjoy it for over 4 hours. And I really look forward to seeing where this journey takes me.
About 15 miles, and we're about 5 minutes out, landing 3-4
Come back in another life. I want to be a falcon.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Well, that was Robert you just heard. And as you can tell, he's got a passion for flying just like I do. Those high-pitched beeps you're hearing, that's our Vario telling us that we are climbing. We're getting up really close to cloud base now. That's kind of where we want to be. We don't really want to be up in the clouds, but we do want to be right as close to them as we can get. That gives us fuel in our tank. Since we don't have an engine, the higher we are, the longer we can glide. One of my favorite parts about being up here is flying past all of these giant, wispy cumulus clouds. It's pretty cool. But it does get warm inside this cockpit, so as we glide under this big, dark cumulus cloud, it's certainly a much more enjoyable feeling. As you can see, I just closed the vent, which means I was a lot cooler at this point. Before now, when I was out in the sun, and as we leave from these clouds and get back into the sun, this canopy acts like the greenhouse. It lets all this sunlight come in, shine on me and on the seat and the instrument panel, and it heats up in here, and then that heat can't escape, so it gets pretty warm. We try to stay under those clouds whenever we can. But sometimes you have to get out, cruise around, and enjoy the scenery. Just like this little canyon here that we circle around in. You can see there's a little bit of snow left, some vibrant colors in the rocks and the green in the trees. And man, those clouds in the background against that blue sky just look amazing. One of the first things that I realized when we got up here is that we were going to be flying these circles a lot closer to the hill than I was originally expecting. I'm used to doing this in my paraglider, but doing it in a bigger plane, I wasn't quite expecting that. That's actually a part of what made this so much fun. Robert was really skilled. He was able to stay in complete control and put us where we needed to go, to find those thermals and to find some of that ridge lift to keep us going further and further. Every time we would start to sink out, we'd have to hunt for a little bit more lift so we could keep on going. Now all of these mountains and terrain below are places I've explored in various ways over the years. Some of which have been on Google Earth, some of it's been on foot, hiking around, some mountain biking, some motorcycle riding. And to be up here and seeing it from this perspective is really, really fun. Well, we just got back from cruising up into southern Idaho. We're here in Cache Valley, Utah. We cruised up past the border, turned around, came back, and now we're trying to find a little bit of altitude again. We're going to hang out here for a little bit, climb up a little bit higher, cruise around near the airport before heading over to Mount Logan, getting some altitude, and crossing over Cache Valley to the west over to the Wellsville Mountains. And that's the Logan Airport down there to the left. That's where we took off. We were towed up, going, I think, a little bit to the northwest, circled around and headed east over to the mountains near Green Canyon, climbed up on the ridges there, then headed north. Now we're back kind of circling around under a cloud right over North Logan, and just off to the right, all those white top buildings, that's Utah State University. And many years ago, I was a student there. For a while, I was in the flight program, learning to become a commercial pilot. But for one reason or another, that never came to be. But thankfully I was able to get into paragliding, and for the last 15 years that's kept my passion for flying alive. It's going to be exciting to see how I can take those skills flying paragliders and transfer them into flying gliders. There's a lot of similarities in how these two aircrafts fly, while at the same time there's some pretty big differences. Now off to your right is Willard Peak and off to your left is Willard Bay. We're as far south as we've gone, and we've turned around and we're heading back north. That mountain range right in front of the glider is the Wellsville mountain range. We flew down that all the way to basically Ogden, and we are slowly working our way back. We are losing a little bit of altitude on the way, and I'm starting to wonder if we'll be able to make it back to the airport we had come from. But as we get back over those Wellsville mountains, you can see that cloud streak cruising across right over the top of them. And now we're under it, and we are climbing right under this cloud right at the top of the screen. We circle around here near the Wellsville Cone and Box Elder Peak, still covered in a little bit of snow, gaining the altitude we need to get us home. We were able to cross over Cache Valley back to the east, where we linked up with the Bear River Range again, headed north a little past the airport. Checked the weather, found that the winds were no longer coming from the west, but were now coming from the north. We looked for a couple of these ridge lines stretching across in a westerly direction that gave us some ridge lift from those northern winds, where we were able to eke out just a little bit more time in the glider. Well, we're on the home stretch, and we've almost got our feet back on the ground. I don't want to wake up from this dream. In fact, I wish it would never end. And if things go my way, it never will. I hope this is the first flight of many more to come. And I look forward to flying with Robert as he trains me to do this solo. As Robert touches down as softly as possible, I'm already dreaming of being back in the sky, wondering when my next flight will be. But I know it won't be very long.